Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We have a Bachelor beef coming your way. That's right. I got an 80s jacket with 90s hair. Let's get into it. What Nick Viall said about Clayton as Bachelor and what Clayton's response was. It's going to make their interview that they do together that much better. Do me a favor, follow me on Instagram at DNeals for exclusive reels that I'm making. Yeah, that's right, real world over here. 2 E's, and if you want, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button an odd number of times. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you subscribe, you're actually going to get more content. You know, YouTube only shows you a certain amount of my content when you're unsubscribed. Hit the alert bell and all that jazz. You might even think you're subscribed because I'm showing up on your home feed, but you're not. Only 50% of my viewers are subscribed, so make that happen. All right, folks, let's get into it. I just released his video inside Colton's new LA home. If you didn't get a chance to watch that, go watch it. I compare what 3 million buys you in Southern California versus like Detroit or Bozeman, Montana, and it is really sad. It is a sad state of affairs, but go watch that video. And here we are. So Nick says, I don't get the choice. That's what Nick says about Clayton. And the comments were Pot calling the kettle black, but Pot has a point. And then afterwards, Clayton responds and says, I don't harbor any resentment. So let's just play a quick video from last week, what Nick actually said, and then I'll share Clayton's response. And then after that, I'll share what you guys are saying. A lot of people in Bachelor Nation actually like Clayton now after questioning him as the choice. The next Bachelor, he said, I've been kind of critical of the selection. It's nothing against Clayton. He seems like a nice enough fellow. But just looking at Michelle's top four, each of the top four has better storylines, more charisma. They have outshined Clayton in every possible way. So I don't really get the choice. All right, so that's what he said. And here's Clayton's response.
Out when Nick Viall said he didn't get you as the choice to be the Bachelor?
You know, when I saw that, I just thought, well, I'm like, let me put myself in his shoes and everybody else's shoes. And the big thing that I realized is everyone's like, we just don't really know who he is. And so I watched the season myself as well with Michelle. And I thought there were points where like my personality came through. I thought the date and all that actually went really well. I thought it showed my goofy side. It showed my dance moves, which that's why I said it's in resolution. I want to get better at them. But yeah, it showed this playful side of me. So it was a little snippet per se, I guess. You know, I don't know how much screen time I had, maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was. It wasn't much, right? But
not much.
When he made that comment, I was like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. But with that, again, like once you're going to get plenty of time to see me now on my season going forward. So if he still feels that way towards the end of it, then fair. That's sure. We'll have a conversation at that point, right? I'll hop on, I'll talk with him and say, what is it that you don't get? But for now, I do understand.
Oh my God, you would actually call him and be like, do you want to talk about this? That's amazing.
I don't know. I mean, if he asked for me to be on talk, I mean, again, I don't harbor any resentment for somebody that makes a comment like that. Again, I think that's his platform. He kind of speculates on all these things and he doesn't know anything about me. So he's going off of the little that he's seen. And yeah, I don't really think it's an unfair argument that he makes or a statement. I just think that it's like, okay, you don't know who I am, so you're kind of questioning it. Well, let's see if you still question it at the end of it all.
Oh, let's see if you question it at the end of it. Now, clearly I'm trying to make something out of nothing here. Clayton, he'd make a good politician. He's like, look, he's essentially saying what we always say. He's doing the best with the information he has. Nick makes opinions, which, by the way, we love. We love Nick. Never stop. I just heard the Chatty Broads are quitting this season. Maybe I'll make a video about that, maybe not. But we need this. We like it when former bachelors, question the host of the show, Jesse Palmer, question things. And Nick comes at it with a point of view that's, realistic, snarky, one might say, cynical, or some might call it bitter. I don't think he's bitter. He got plenty of, it's not like he never got to be the Bachelor, right? He has plenty of time. So I don't think it's bitter like, oh, what does Clayton have to offer? Nick did his season. Nick was able to spiral it into being one of the most successful contestants of all time. I mean, he's got to be a top 5, right? As far as money earned from the Bachelor, you're looking at Caitlin Bristow, Nick Viall, Rachel, Lindsay. Right, Tayshia's on her way there, but she's, hasn't been in the game as long. So, he's been very successful. Clayton's response, look, he just doesn't know much about me, so I get he's thinking about, I get his opinion, And it's not that Nick ever said that Clayton didn't have charm or charisma. He just said these other guys have more of that. And that's what the show wanted to show, the top 3 or 4 guys. Again, it comes down to the timeline, which people keep on forgetting to discuss. When did Rodney get off the show, and were they already trying to have a lead cast? Was the show saying, all right, we need a lead, we need to start looking at contestants for the lead? Which, by the way, I had to tell you guys this. I can't tell you all how many people that have been on this season in the last 2 seasons have reached out to me. It is hilarious the amount of DMs we're getting. I'm going to share some of them. I'm not going to air the DM out, but I'm going to paraphrase what a few people have been saying on the Patreon tomorrow. All right, that's going to be a Friday. It's going to be a lot of juice coming in on Friday. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. We have a quasi-villain that has reached out to me and shared some information. Look, guys, I'm just not going to share it here publicly. I need to give a reason to people to join the Patreon. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. But it's some good little tea, lukewarm at best. It helps, some of the info we put out there on the Patreon. It helps answer some questions that are out there. So Clayton had this to say, as we saw or listened to, about Nick. It's very political. It's very much non-controversial. But I really liked this post we had on Reddit. Okay, so by the way, I was totally wrong. This season actually looks pretty good. This post features a ridiculously obvious metaphor, analogy. One of those 2 words I always mix up, or content shown in episode 1, which previews bits of the entire season. So there's no, what they're saying is, we'll talk about what happened in episode 1, but there's no spoilers here. And when I say pretty good, I mean the most delicious disaster, LMAO. Kind of like if multiple trains crashed into a dumpster fire, and then against all odds, the trains in the dumpster fire fell in love. And then the dumpster fire banged a few of the trains, and then the physically and emotionally wrecked trains in the fiery, corn-fed dumpster proceeded to cry and cry harder, and cry standing up, and cry in a patio, and cry in fetal position. Side note, why on earth does that little minute-long tongue-in-cheek Bachelor Nation preview montage of women and men simultaneously losing their effing minds and crying their asses off always get me the most hype? And it looks like this season we get the most ridiculous, over-the-top crying ever. The rare throwing themselves face down onto random staircases and sobbing themselves to death kind of weeping. WTF is wrong with me? Oh, and I was specifically wrong about the Bachelor pick. So wrong. LMAO, cue the Lindsay Lohan Mean Girls gif. I was, for some reason, expecting Clayton to be another Colton. Nope, wrong, all the wrong. I just read a comment from one of the live discussion posts that said, Clayton's pretty much a golden retriever, and OMFG, skull emoji, the accuracy, crying tears emoji. Colton was like the bland, blonde, dimpled, muscly little apprentice in training to Penn Bagley's stalker psycho character in You. Clayton, on the other hand, is an actual golden retriever who is magically transformed into a friendly, tall, hunking human male, I'm assuming via your standard Sea Witch contract or fortune teller in a box. Too long didn't read. After weeks of eye-rolling and trash talking, it's time for me to, 1, admit that Clayton actually somehow is not a boring Bachelor lead. 2, also admit that this season looks downright scrumptious. 3, and finally, to humbly put this old mask on once again, clown face. This is a Pulitzer Prize winning post right here. I'll say that again. Pulitzer Prize winning post right here. Read a couple of the comments. Look, 155 upvotes. People agree. And look, you don't have to be a psychologist, or maybe you do, to think that what makes a good Bachelor lead. Is it the suave, joyful? Like, take Rodney, for example. I think what makes a good friend, like Rodney's a great guy. He was multidimensional. Everyone loved him, full of positive energy. That's good. We love that in a human. Clayton possibly tells 3 women he loves them and tells 2 of them to their face that he, bumped Harrison's, pumped his Palmer with the other, lanced his bass, spiked his bong on top of his Little John, and did all these other numbers, lanced his spade, all these things to these other women in front of them. Now, Gladiator, we like to see mess happen in front of our face. We don't want to see a gladiator that's polite and charming, and both gladiators, leave the arena and drink beers together. We want to see them fight to the death. Metaphorically speaking, we might get some gladiator moments this season. So, we could talk about Bachelor producers and all the wrong that they do, because certainly there's a lot out there morally, ethically, flying too close to the sun, this and that. But I think they know a thing or two about their contestants and who they're putting out there, and have a pretty good sample size of how to create mess. And that might be what they're doing. Let's read just a couple of your comments here. I've literally been scared to admit I like Clayton, and now all of a sudden people are kind of down with the pick. I'm here for it. Not gonna lie, the sobbing to death on the stairs is my kind of meltdown. I'm dying at corn-fed dumpster fire, falls in love with all the trains, and then bangs several of them. Clayton as a golden retriever really fits too. As long as this doesn't turn out like Pilot Pete season, because that was way too much of a dumpster fire, I would rather watch my dog's neutering procedure on a loop for 2 hours than ever rewatch his season. I'm sure your dog doesn't feel the same. Also, I read spoiler. Okay, so we're not going to get into spoilers. I think he's a blank slate, the blankest of very white slates. That's the producer can paint all over. This cast seems like something else. I see maybe 3 fan favorites and a lot of potential villains. All right, so there's a lot of reminders of Pilot Pete. There's a lot of reminders. Clayton is Kelly Flanagan had made fun of him. Excuse me. For saying, oh, he's here for the right reasons and he trusts the process. It almost feels like people that Kelly Flanagan never trusted the process, right? She was cynical and had this critical thinking mind the whole time. She was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm done. She eliminates. She's like, no, this isn't for me. And then she ends up dating Pilot Pete on her own time. Some people trust the process, but we know the process doesn't lead to love per se. The process leads to drama and ratings, some of which have gone down. But, that's what the show is. If you find love, great. But the show doesn't make their money if they find love. The show makes their money if they draw blood. Let me know what you guys think. We'll have more content coming your way all day long. Live stream today, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow we're going to have a juicy Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. 1 p.m. East Coast, 10 a.m. West Coast live stream. All right, see you guys in a little bit. Bye, guys.